greatest benefit of being a YouTuber is that people send you stuff for free. Whoa! A few weeks ago, my friend Jonathan over at Fusion 360 sent a group of us creators an email saying that 3D Connection wanted to send out a few SpaceMouses. And now, I have it. Which is perfect timing because today I'll be 3D printing an enclosure for this circuit board. The plan is to take this prototype, solder it up on a circuit board, and then design an enclosure to go around it. And once that's finished, I'm gonna connect it to my computer as a macro controller. That way I can control OBS Studio while recording things on my computer or using my overhead camera that I built yesterday. Let's get to it. These are header pins. I'm attaching them to the bottom of this KB2040. That way, whenever I solder it to the circuit board, the KB2040 isn't directly soldered to the board and can be removed. Now that the KB2040 microcontroller has been added to the circuit board, I can start adding in these momentary switches. They're tiny. Look at it, it's so small. And I often screw these up because they work one direction and not the other, but I can test it with my multimeter and make sure. So if I hook it up this way, okay, that's the wrong wire. But this one, if I press it, there we go. Okay, so that's how I have to wire it. I know, it's tiny. I finished soldering the buttons to the circuit board. Now I need to add the potentiometers. Now that all the components are soldered here to the circuit board, I need to wire everything up. I need to replicate this on here. Probably should have taken note of that earlier, but I think I have the original design somewhere. Let's look for it. Okay. Whoa! I opened up right to the first page. There it is. That's the schematic that we need. With this ribbon cable and this schematic, I'll be able to wire up all the components on the circuit board so the buttons communicate to KB2040, and then the KB2040 sends a USB signal to the computer, and then the computer tells OBS Studio whether to pause, play, switch cameras, switch views, everything. It starts right here. Okay, I got all the wires in. At least halfway in. Now I need to, it looks like art, look at that, it's art. Now I need to connect all these wires to the microcontroller over here. All the ground wires are soldered up here on the circuit board. Now I just need to attach the input wires. That was tedious, but it's done. Now I'm gonna measure it up and use my SpaceMouse to make an enclosure. All right, wireless mouse. I don't really use a mouse pad too often, so I don't know how much I'll actually use this. This, holy cow, this is heavy. This is what I'm actually interested in. And man, it's really heavy. I just realized something. It might not be charged. That'll be a problem. Oh, there's a blue blinking light. Okay, I think that means there's power. That's a good thing. I should probably read the instructions. I got it working. Check this out. So this is a puzzle provided by 3D Connection, and you can manipulate it. That's so cool. It works exactly how you would think it should work. It's very natural. As Fusion 360 loads, here's Teddy. Soaking wet. There's Ruger being good. He's soaking wet and currently sitting on me. I opened up Fusion 360 and I drew this box. Now I'm going to test out the SpaceMouse for the first time. So it's, okay, we can go counterclockwise, clockwise. Then we go, okay, that tilts away. This tilts forward. Yeah. Okay. So up and down. It's interesting. Okay, now I'm getting the hang of it. Ooh. Whoop, I lost it. Where'd it go? I lost my part. I went into the settings and now it's working a little bit better. Here's what I did. I changed the sensitivity, the speed. It was up like here somewhere, moved it down to here. Then I went into navigation, changed it to target camera. Really important, this is kind of just a preference, what you like between these four. But what's really important is dominant. See, if you have this unchecked and you go over here, it's a little loosey-goosey. So by going with the dominant, if you have like multiple motions going on at once, it'll just focus on the one that's most dominant, and it's a little bit more controllable like that. And then I went into the axis and I also switched in, out, down, and up. So I just like flipped out, up and in and out and down, or something like that. I changed those four, and I like the way that handles much more. So when you pull up, it goes out, and push down, it goes in. Push forward, it spins like this, or yeah, like that. Let's make an enclosure. Let's get cooking. Cool, it should take about an hour and 10 minutes to print. It seems we have a jam in the extruder. This usually doesn't happen. We're back on track. Hopefully it should work now. Now that the Bamboo Lab is operating in ludicrous mode, I'm gonna go get some lunch, or at this point, dinner. And whenever I get back, hopefully this will be finished and I can start printing out the buttons and the potentiometer knobs, or encoder knobs, and then this can all be assembled. Today I'm having free walking, fresh, local chicken thighs. I picked these thighs up from a farm down the road that I found on yumfar.com. Yumfar is an app that I built for finding healthy, local food from places like farms, farmers markets, and CSAs. With all the preservatives added to food nowadays, you never know what you're eating. That's why I like to get my food locally from people that I can trust. One of the coolest features I built into Yumfar is that it uses artificial intelligence to provide you recipes and where to get those ingredients locally. To support this channel, please go to yumfar.com and join today. So good. After 30 minutes in ludicrous mode, the enclosure is printed. Oh, that's cool. And it has a carbon fiber finish to the bottom of it. Now I'm gonna 3D print a button and see if it fits. If it fits, then I'll print the other 8 buttons. The enclosure came out really nice. Everything seems to line up quite well, and it fits inside. Now I'm gonna update the code here on the KB2040 to make sure it's gonna work with OBS Studio. I love working with CircuitPython. It's so easy to update. All I have to do is go over here. These are my old files for the project. I'm gonna update it onto the KB2040. Then I can open up new editor, load in the code that is currently on the RP2040 chip. Here's all of the inputs, and then here are the rotary encoders and the buttons. Right now the knobs are being used for right and left arrowing, as well as volume increase and decrease, and pressing it is being used for, the one's being used for function 2 and the other one is being used for pause play. I'm gonna set the buttons to function keys 11 through 19. Cool. Now that I've updated the function keys, I'm going to save it to the KB2040 board. Whoa! See that? I'm controlling that with the KB2040. That's cool. Can I control volume? I can. Look at this little guy. Boop. Oh. All right, let's go try it out. Oh, this is so much fun. Okay, here's the enclosure. We'll just pop this button in there. Okay, see that? That looks really nice. Blue, white, and then we'll put in, unplug it. Put in the microcontroller board. That lines up so nice. The other 8 buttons are finished printing. Take those over. Let's 3D print the bottom of the enclosure. Again, why 3D print at normal speeds when you can 3D print at ludicrous speed? I got all the buttons in place and the board is working with the computer properly now. Now to add a few nuts and bolts. The old 10mm. The macro pad is finished, and I updated the code and updated the hotkeys on OBS Studio, and it's working exactly how I wanted to. Check this out, it's so cool. I can go from talking on the computer to writing over here with the overhead camera, back over here to CAD design, whee! And then switch over to coding, and then use my phone as well. Look at that, isn't that so cool? There, boop, boop, boop. All in real time. Bam, 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 bam. In just a few hours, I went from a prototype to a working macro pad. Super happy with how this came out. If you're working on a project, let me know what it is down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you're working on. If you're part of a startup, check out links down below for networking opportunities. Don't forget to sign up for Yumfar. It helps support this channel, and you're gonna have local, healthy food, so don't miss out. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. We're about 12,500 subscribers. We're trying to get to 100,000 so I can put a nice little shiny plaque up there. And as always, be creative and go build something awesome.